Hey guys, Thomas Jr. here, aka Mustache Tom, and I'm here to review Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So I've seen a few reviews of this after watching the film, so I'm always doing different things, seeing what's happening. I suspect that this movie is being reviewed a lot, uh, for because it's probably one of those trending movies. And I can understand why. You got your Leonardo DiCaprio, your Brad Pitt, your big old actors. And it's a Quentin Tarantino film. So, it's all that. Anyways, this movie follows these two primarily, and one actress, I forget the actress's name, but she plays in the movie Sharon Tate, which, oddly enough, I did a movie review of a movie, uh, I believe it was like The Possession of Sharon Tate or something like that. So that wasn't even, I don't think that was too long ago. But yeah, interesting that, 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 we have another movie with, one Sharon Tate in it. Of course, that is a real life person. I don't believe the other two are real. These are more fictionalized characters living the life of Hollywood in the 1960s. Uh, Primarily doing westerns in a time where apparently the world of acting was in its it was doing a big old curve. It was like doing super good, and then it was not doing super good around this time. And the actors in the movie definitely feel it, trying to get by, trying to do what they can, uh, all while other events are happening, and they'll talk about that a little bit later on. So the movie is pretty long, and I do believe I've seen multiple reviews say that this movie is it meanders about it, the pacing. In other terms, the pacing is a bit slow. Uh, it's a bit awkward at times. Particularly, a lot of people say it happens towards the middle-ish area. And yeah, I can agree to that extent. But there is some phenomenal acting here, particularly in some scenes. Leonardo DiCaprio definitely kills it in some scenes. Does some really good stuff here. One of my uh, like an interesting scene is like he's on set. He's talking to this young actress, who's talking about, like, I forget her name too, and she's talking about like how she prefers to be like in character and stuff like that, and they just start talking um, about what they're doing, and it's a really nice scene. It's just two people talking, and it's really nice, and that sort of transitions over into when we see Leo's character Rick Dalton sort of try to do a scene, and then him forgetting the lines, and then having that sort of breakdown, and so on and so forth. Now, there is one part of a reviewer's review that I would disagree with, which obviously, I'm one of the very few YouTubers who will call out people by name, one Chris Stuckman, who said that this wouldn't have worked if this wasn't Leonardo DiCaprio and yeah. So, in other words, ironically enough, he also said like something about how, at least in modern times, though, the whole actor or actress big time being attached to a name isn't the necessary selling point, and I completely disagree. At least in terms of looking at this year, if you're just looking at this year, there aren't many really that many movies where I can think of that either introduce somebody new or does, has a list of actors and actresses that aren't well known. That is not something you see very commonly in movies. So yeah, I completely disagree, and I also disagree with the sentiment that it being Leonardo DiCaprio carries the scene. In fact, I would argue that I think the entire movie would have been even far more interesting, and um, the meta of it actually would work to the movie's benefit if it had a new actor playing an actor who's well in his prime and then trying to find his old spark, which for the new actor would be his new spark. To me, that would actually double down on some sort of meta humor in the movie, which I do think this movie is trying to do in certain places. There seems to be like these little moments where it's like a little meta humor here and there, um, between trying to tell a dramatic story between these actors. And again, I would argue that a new actor would actually help this movie a lot more than, you know, just another movie where it's just another big actor. Because to me, that's actually way more commonplace than new actors and actresses taking on the role, or any roles in particular. So yeah, I completely disagree with that sentiment. And as I mentioned, the movie does suffer some through some pacing in the middle, and it's trying to get to a point of this other completely separate story. It almost feels like the thing with Sharon Tate. Uh, for those of you who don't know, and if you haven't seen my review of the possession of Sharon Tate, there's this like report of like how these like hippie people came over and decided that they were gonna kill her and all these other actors and stuff, and they actually did do that. But in this movie, she's protected, which okay, that's fictionalizing a true event, which is a little bit bizarre, but okay. Um, and I don't know if it would have. I don't know if it would have helped the meta if they doubled down on the whole "it's a movie within a movie" thing on the third act, like out of a bizarre, sort of like that movie, the one with the zombies and Bill Murray and Adam. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, where the actors in the movie know that they're in a movie. Like I feel like that type of meta would have worked better for a movie like this that is about movies. If Sharon Tate, or at least in this interpretation, was a character that knew she was in a movie about a movie, in the making of a movie as well. Um, Again, I don't know if that would have helped, because again, they seem to be telling a completely different story from the one that's based off of true events, so I don't know if they should have leaned even harder on the whole meta aspect of movie making and behind the scenes stuff and all that. I don't know. I think it could have helped, and I think I would have actually benefited from having new actors and actresses actually pull this off and pull it off successfully. Because that's something you just don't see in movies, is a lot of new faces, and at least you don't see it too often. So yeah, definitely disagree with that. But as far as the movie is concerned, With the meandering in mind, I would give this movie a 6 out of 10. I do feel like they could have trimmed it a little bit in terms of the whole Sharon Tate thing, because, again, that doesn't seem. It feels very disconnected from the rest of the movie in terms of what's going on. And there are a few scenes that kind of set it up, but not really all that well. But yeah, I would just, if it had been me, I would have probably just had cut it. But anyways, that's my review of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And if you enjoyed this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out those links in the description. One will lead you over to my Discord server, the other to my Patreon page. Any donations are greatly appreciated. Until next time, everyone, bye-bye.